cozy, warm story about a man who experiences a swift transition from a grey and somber lifestyle to a life full of bright colors, new emotions, nature, sunshine, white beaches, and everything in between. All of that mixed up with magic and fantasy creatures. I'm talking about The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, and I had a great time reading this book. Not only it felt fluffy and it made me smile a lot, but it's also shrouded in mysteries. And even though it's a cozy book, it may make you feel worried a couple of times. I definitely want more people to know about the book, so I'll give you a quick overview, walk you through the book's introduction, genre, writing style, and all the other things worth mentioning. And it will be a spoiler-free review. Hopefully. So get yourself comfortable and let's get started. The House in the Cerulean Sea is a young adult queer fantasy which is set in a modern world where humanity and magical creatures coexist with each other. But in fact, everything is managed by humans, and magical creatures are depicted as minorities. Based on that, you'll see the book addressing some important social issues like prejudice or discrimination. There are many examples of magical creatures featured in the book, like banshee, gnomes, shapeshifters, even demons, and many more. One of the primary focuses of the book are magical children who are abandoned or rejected by society because of their abilities or appearances. They live in so-called orphanages, managed by this government organization in charge of magical youth. Back to the main story, the main protagonist is Linus Baker, an ordinary 40-year-old social caseworker. His job is to inspect orphanages where magical children reside and ensure that they're treated well and have all of the necessities for comfortable living. He's very professional, he strictly follows rules and regulations of his organization, which state that he should maintain emotional distance with the children and don't get too friendly with them, but at the same time he truly cares for the children. Although he loves his job and he's very good at it, Linus lives a grey and mundane life where each day goes by and nothing special really happens. He lives in a small house in a rainy climate and has annoying neighbors, but on the bright side he lives with a cat, which has a very rich personality. But everything starts to change when he unexpectedly gets summoned by his upper management. He's then given a classified assignment, which will drastically change his life. He has to travel here, in the house in the Cerulean Sea, which is basically another orphanage. And he has to conduct an inspection to ensure the well-being of the 6 magical children who live here, as well as to verify that the master of the orphanage is capable of doing his job well. The interesting part is that it's not an ordinary orphanage. It's a home for very special magical children, and within its walls there is someone who can potentially destroy the entire world. Linus doesn't get much information about his assignment. All he knows for sure is that for the next month he'll spend there, he must be extremely vigilant. And he must send weekly reports to his management so it can stay up to date with his inspection. So throughout the story, Linus has this slow and smooth transition from being on a hostile territory and somewhat disregarded by the children to being welcomed and basically being a part of the family. Linus and the children do activities together. With each day, Linus learns more about the children, and all of this is followed up with humor and funny situations. And this environment changes Linus a lot as a person. I won't be surprised if interactions between magical children and other main characters make someone melt. Some magical children even enjoy dark humor, and you'll see a lot of it throughout the book. But, well, since it comes from magical children in a fiction story, I think it only adds up to the coziness. I'll give you just one sentence example to show how cozy the book is. Today someone, I won't say his name, wore blue socks with clouds on them. Linus refused to be charmed. He mostly succeeded. Funny thing to mention is that the book describes literally most of the cat gestures and postures I can think of. Let me give you a couple of examples here as well. Calliope, that's the name of the Linus's cat, yawned and tucked her face under her paws, breathing deeply. She blinked slowly before curling her face back under her paws. She licked her paw and rubbed it over her face. And that's only a small fraction. A short break to appreciate my cat. The interiors and locations are beautifully described, and I loved when the author used elements like chimes, paper lanterns, colorful flowers, and garden gnomes. As I mentioned before, the book is full of mysteries, and no matter on what page or chapter you're currently on, there will always be at least one question on your mind. And the author stretches tension before unfolding mysteries, which I genuinely liked. It was very hard for me to anticipate what's going to happen, and even though it's a cozy book, sometimes I felt really concerned about some characters and their fate. The writing style and plot in general are comfy and simple, as you would expect from a young adult book, which is good for a cozy story, but it can seem too simple sometimes. For example, closer to the end, you'll notice some grown adults having a mindset of a child, which was unexpected to me and just didn't feel right. And the most memorable experience I had with the book was me being outside reading a chapter about a field trip. There is a small public space on top of a hill in my hometown. I go there to read books from time to time. And the shining sun, the sounds of nature, and the bugs constantly buzzing around you really add to the vibe when you read about camping activities. As I said before, I really enjoyed The House in the Cerulean Sea, and I'll definitely read more of cozy fantasy books in the future. I consider buying another work of TJ Klune, which is Under the Whispering Door, but the next book in my list is Legendborn. I hope this overview was useful to you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.